Okay, I just got out of I went to the fitness club, and, well, while I was at the fitness club on the treadmill, I happened to see this video that I was watching on my smartphone here on YouTube, and the video was titled Let Them Go, or Just Let Them Go. And I thought that the point that this guy made in his video was quite on point. Well, point on point. So, the whole point of the video, puns intended, was that if there are people in your life who you've reached out to, but who don't reach out to you back, or they don't respond, or for some reason they don't seem to care about you or want to be in touch with you unless they need something from you, or, even if it's just not at all, like you reach out to them time and time again, and regardless of whether this person is somebody you love, somebody who's a friend, somebody who's a family member, don't waste your time on them. So basically, don't waste your time on people who are a waste of time. Because if they only reach out to you or respond to you when they want something, they don't care about you. So really, your answer when you try to reach out to them is the fact that they never reach out to you. Or if you reach out to them and they're like, yeah, how's it going? And it's like they kind of see talking to you or being in touch with you as a little bit of a chore or whatever, or they seem disinterested. Don't waste your time on them. Let them go. Get rid of them. A person with high self-esteem would say, you know what? I'm not going to waste my time on people who obviously don't value me. They don't value being in contact with me. And they're just not worth my time. I am worth more than the way I'm being treated. As a person of high value, that seems to be the catchphrase nowadays, high value. But as a person of self-worth and self-confidence, you shouldn't take crap from people like that, because that's very disrespectful. If you're reaching out to people and obviously want to be either friends with them, you care about them, and they just treat you like crap by not even responding, or if they respond, it's only when they want something from you, then they're not worth your time. So you should reject them. It's just that they're a person of low value, and they're not worth your time. So I saw this guy's video and I thought it was very interesting. And yeah, it may be a bitter pill to swallow, but a person with self-confidence will not take crap like that. And I've learned that the hard way multiple times throughout my life. And yeah, they're just not worth your time. If you feel, and you should say this to yourself, I matter, that should be a constant affirmation you say to yourself. If you feel that people are treating you like you don't matter, then you should ditch them immediately. I'm not saying ditch somebody just because, say, you make plans with them and they show up late one time, or say you reach out to somebody and it takes them a little while to get back to you once in a while. Things happen, people make mistakes, that sort of thing. So I wouldn't be like, oh, you didn't return my call immediately, so it's over. That sort of thing. But if it's a pattern, then yeah, they're telling you through their actions that they don't give a shit about you, and they think that you're not valuable, that you don't matter, and so they're not worth wasting your time on. So that should be your, and that's something I affirm to myself all the time, is I matter. I matter. I say that probably hundreds of times a day to remind myself not to take shit from people. And there are tons of other ways that people disrespect you all the time, by being late, interrupting you when you're speaking, they're rude to you, they dismiss you. If you make plans and then they cancel the plans at the last minute repeatedly because they got something better to do. Or, say you make plans with somebody to meet somebody somewhere and they don't even show up. I've had that happen to me once, actually a couple times. And but the first time somebody does that to me, they're done. They're cut out of my life, period. Hit the road, Jack, and don't come back no more. I don't take shit like that from anybody, because that is just a total disregard. It's one thing if somebody, like one time, says, "Oh, I totally forgot. We made these plans and I accidentally double scheduled," or something like that. But if it's clear that it was just, I didn't even want to give you the courtesy of letting you know that I changed my plans or any of that. Or, if it's something that maybe one time, once in a great while, because of a scheduling difficulty, or people forget, they make mistakes. That's one thing. But when it's a repeated pattern, yeah, they're just telling you who they are and that they don't place any value in you. So I just wanted to mention that. And so, yeah, another thing, I'm going to get to driving here. I got to head back to the house. Another thing is that I got to thinking about in relation to that is that be very careful about vetting who you allow into your life. Be it a business partner, a lover, a friend, or both. And by the way, if you get married, that is a business partnership, just so you know. That's the way you need to think of it, is that it is a business partnership. Because you have legal responsibilities to each other. Dang cops interfering with my video. But be very careful about who you bring into your life and vet them. And I would say even do background checks on them, not only criminally, but pay very close attention to the kind of people they hang out with. Because who you bring into your life, you are also bringing into your life the people that they associate with and their family members and all that. So by extension, if you marry somebody, you're not just marrying that person, you're also marrying their family. And you are now bringing their friends and associates into your life as well. So I just wanted to mention that. I've seen too many cases where people that I knew, their lives were destroyed because they were either hanging out with the wrong crowd, or they married the wrong person, because you're marrying into a family, not just that person. Or they had a business partnership with somebody who screwed them over. Which goes into my next topic that I want to talk about real quick. And that is that if somebody will cheat with you on somebody else, they will turn around and cheat on you with somebody else. So if you hook up with somebody knowing that that person is with somebody else, either in a love relationship or a marriage or something like that, and you know that they're betraying the trust and the relationship that they have with this other person to be with you, that person will have no compunctions whatsoever about cheating on you with somebody else once they get bored with you, or they feel that, they find somebody else that they think they would rather be with, the new thing, the shiny new object or whatever. And so be aware of that. Character matters. Character in terms of the people that you associate with matter. So, which goes into my next point, that extends to beyond just love relationships. That also goes into any other type of relationship, working relationship, business partnership. Oh, and by the way, your coworkers are not your friends, just so you know. And if somebody, say, either in your personal life or in your professional life, will gossip and backstab other people behind their back to you, you can bet that they will gossip about you and stab you in the back when it suits their personal interest to do so. They will do the same to you that they're doing with you behind somebody else's back. Because again, character matters. If you're around somebody who you know is a thief, maybe they haven't stolen from you yet, but they'll steal from you, as soon as they feel, they see the opportunity. If they lie, if it's somebody that, lies to other people and deceives other people, but they act like they're your friend, they'll lie to you. Don't think they won't. And in fact, I'll tell a quick story about that, where I was watching this video a couple of years ago, actually now, and I cannot remember the name of the person who made the video or what the title of the video was, but it was basically one of these people who was a former associate of an Italian crime family, mafia, there in New York City, who had gotten into trouble, and but he was able to serve his prison sentence, and then he got out and he had immunity from further prosecution because he turned evidence against some of the people he was involved with, so he got immunity. But he was saying on the video that there truly is no honor among thieves, which relates to this other stuff I'm talking about, in terms of character, to where he was saying that there were times when he would be with his crew, some of the members of his crew, and they'd be riding around looking at places, houses that they were scoping out, making plans, deciding which house they wanted to rob, which they didn't, and basically looking around for, casing joints to decide places they wanted to rob, and including banks, by the way. And so they'd be riding around, choosing which places they wanted to rob, and they'd be plotting their criminal activities while they're in their car, driving around the city. And then they go to drop one of their the members of the crew off, at their house. And as soon as the person got out of the car and went into the house, and they were sure that they wouldn't be heard and all that, overheard, and as they were driving away, they were then plotting how they were going to rob the guy that they just dropped off. So there is no honor among thieves. You may think you're friends, you may think you're part of a crew and all that, and that these people are your friends, and you even may be part of a criminal organization. But so while you're plotting to commit crimes against others, with your crew, they may be plotting behind your back to rob you. So that's why I say be very, very, very careful about vetting the people you bring into your life, and And I'll just say this, back in the day when I was a teenager, my friends, my best friends in middle school and high school, and they were good people, well, to me anyways, their family were members of the Sons of Silence motorcycle club, and that particular chapter was directly involved in doing business with the Italian mafia there in the state that we lived in, and I won't say right now. Maybe I'll reveal that in a later video. But so as a teenager, I grew up around bikers, gangsters. Not only the MCs, but also the Italian mafia, because at the time, that particular chapter and some of the other members of some of the other biker clubs, such as the Hells Angels and the Iron Horsemen, they were doing business with the local mafia families. They were involved in a lot of their rackets, but specifically in providing security. And so I didn't realize it, that from about the time I was, 10 to in my early 20s, I was basically what they would consider now a hanger-round. And so when I turned 18, right before I started the recruiting process to get into the military, the family, whom I'd known for ages, for years and years and years, and they were always good to me. And I've kind of lost contact with them now. But they asked me if I wanted to become a member of the Sons of Silence. And I have to say, because I grew up in that environment, and I grew up around bikers and riding motorcycles and hanging out, yeah, we did some stupid crap. I won't mention some of the things that I was involved in as a kid, because I know it's past the statute of limitations, but running numbers and things like that. Didn't know any better. But they asked me if I wanted to join the club, and I very seriously considered it. But one of the things that made me decide against that was not only that I was trying to join the military at the time, but also because I remembered how just a few years prior to that, in 1986, I believe it was December of 1986, I believe it was 86 or 87, it had been in the news about how Paul Castellano, the boss of not the Colombo crime family, but the Gambino crime family, there in New York, the head of the five families, was killed right outside Sparks Steakhouse, right there on the street. He and his bodyguard were gunned down by rival gang members. And yes, the mafia is a gang, by the way. Later come to find out, of course, years later, that it was actually Sammy the Bull Gravano and his crew with John Gotti, who whacked the Godfather at the time, because Gotti wanted to be the Godfather, and he eventually became the Teflon Don. That was all over the news and everything. And I remember thinking at the time, when I was considering whether to join the Sons of Silence, which would have meant that I would have been involved in the business with the members, the mafia guys, and thinking, you know what, that sort of thing could happen to me. What makes me think that as a low-level member of a biker gang, that not only the other members of the biker club or the mafia themselves might kill me, because if they would kill their own boss, the Godfather, what makes me think that wouldn't happen to me? And back in the day, this was before the movie Goodfellas came out. So, you know, I decided, no, thank you. I'll pass on that for now because I'm trying to get into the military, and years later, the movie Goodfellas came out, and then I heard about things that were going on there in the area where I had lived and all that. I'd moved away and all that, and I just heard stories about all the stuff that had gone on and everything, and I realized that I made the right decision. Now, I'm not saying that all members of the Sons of Silence, that all the chapters, or all the chapters of these other motorcycle clubs, like the Hells Angels and the Iron Horsemen and all that, are involved in organized crime. But that one in particular was. And I have very fond memories of those people, including the Mafia guys at the time, because when I was hanging out as a kid, I mean, they were always cool to me. And in fact, I have to say that the people I have the most fond memories of from my childhood are the criminals. You know, the bikers and the Mafia guys, because the people who were not involved in that were trash bags, you know, bullies, crap, you know. Even some of my own family members treated me like crap and were abusive and all that. But when I'd hang out with my friends, I was always treated like they were happy to see me around. I was treated like one of them, you know. I was like one of the crew, that sort of thing. So, it's pretty sad when that's the case, but so I always thought of them as good people, even though some of them were, you know, murderers and drug dealers and involved in prostitution and other rackets. I never got into that, and I chose differently, a different path, which I'm glad I chose. But they were good to me. But just to remembering how even the Godfather got killed by his own people simply because they wanted to take over the leadership. That just goes to show you that the people you're hanging out with may or may not be good people, and just how important it is to vet who you bring into your life in all areas of your life. You know, business-wise, marriage, your family members that you hang out with, because they can ruin your life, or they can make your life better. So I thought that guy's video was quite interesting. I thought he had some very good points. And this is something I've thought about saying for a while. I think this will be like probably my second video that I'll be uploading, doing this kind of stuff. I haven't uploaded anything else for years. But yeah, be careful who you hang out with, who you bring into your life, because not only will they influence you, but you know, you hear all the time about people being killed by their friends, murdered by their own family members. Chris Watts is a perfect example of that. Unfortunately, in that case, not long before Shanann and her 3 children, you know, her 2 children and the one she was pregnant with, were murdered by her husband, Chris Watts, because he was having an affair with somebody else and he just wanted to get out of that relationship, so he murdered them, thinking he could do that and then move on to Nicole. She had posted videos about how Chris was the greatest thing that ever happened to her, and that she was happy and they were expecting their son Nico, who hadn't been born yet. And not long after that, she was murdered in 2018, you know, and then the Chris Watts, that whole thing broke. And, you know, now he's serving the rest of his life in prison, and was originally in Colorado, and now I think he's been moved to another state. I can't remember what state. And he deserves every bit of hell that he's getting right now. But that's why it's really important, and I'm not blaming Shanann for not knowing the truth about her husband. But even people that you think are good people, you know, you've got to pay close attention. You know, watch for the red flags. Be careful about whom you associate with and bring into your life. And just another little segue here. If you're a parent, that's doubly important, because whom you bring into your life, you're also bringing into your children's lives. And you know, you hear about that crap all the time about children being sexually abused and even murdered by boyfriends or girlfriends of the parent, or even just associates or even family members. So you got to be real careful. Keep your head on a swivel. Watch your back at all times. And just be real careful about it, with whom you associate and who you bring into your life. And if you have people in your life that treat you like shit and they show certain red flags and all that, let them go. So I guess that's the end of this. And I wish you all well, anybody who watches this. And I hope you got something valuable out of this. And hasta, and until next time.